to me to take that song out of the movie.
Why?
I'm not supposed to be talking about this, but
Directing myself, a lot of that had to do with, you know, the brilliance of Blake Lively and being able to act with this powerhouse.
Justin Baldoni's $400 million defamation lawsuit against the New York Times just hit a major setback, and things are looking worse by the minute. A judge has officially put the case on hold, and if this latest ruling is any indication, Baldoni's legal battle might be over before it even begins. But how did it come to this? What exactly did the judge say? And could this pause be the first step toward a total legal defeat, or even the end of Baldoni's career? Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any updates on this unfolding legal drama. This story is moving fast, and trust me, you'll want to stay in the loop. Let's get into it. December 2024. The New York Times drops a story, and boom, Hollywood is in chaos. The headline, Blake Lively is accusing her It Ends With Us director and co-star Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment. But that's not all. She claims he went as far as orchestrating a full-on smear campaign against her. Yeah, this wasn't just a behind-the-scenes fallout. This was a full-blown war. And the Times, they weren't just reporting, it felt like they were laying out exhibits for a courtroom. Their article didn't just summarize the accusations, it featured direct messages from Baldoni's camp, his publicist, Abel, and crisis specialist Nathan, messages that were straight from Lively's official complaint. Oh, and for anyone doubting, the Times had the receipts. They even uploaded the court documents, letting readers scroll through them like it was a true crime investigation. Now, Baldoni wasn't about to sit back and let this narrative run wild. His attorney, Brian Friedman, who, by the way, has a reputation for going all in, fired back hard, slamming Lively's allegations as false. But here's where things took another nasty turn. Just days after the Times article hit the internet, WME, one of Hollywood's biggest talent agencies, dropped Baldoni like a hot potato. And in case anyone thought this was just industry gossip, Ari Emanuel, the CEO of Endeavor, WME's parent company, personally confirmed it. So, Baldoni went from respected director to headline scandal within days, losing major Hollywood backing. And the worst part? This was only the beginning. Now, on December 31st, 2024, Justin Baldoni fires back. And not with just a statement or a Twitter rant. Nope. He goes straight for the New York Times with a $250 million libel lawsuit. Yeah, $250 million. His claim was that the Times didn't just report the news, they cowered to the demands of two Hollywood powerhouses, Blake Lively and her husband, Ryan Reynolds. Baldoni wasn't just denying the allegations, he was flipping the script. He accused the Times of twisting the narrative by cherry-picking messages and leaving out crucial context, all to make him look like the villain. And the most bizarre detail, his lawsuit called out the omission of an upside-down smiley face emoji in one of the quotes the Times published. Yep, you heard that right, an emoji. According to Baldoni's camp, that little detail completely changed the tone of the message and made it seem like his PR team was deliberately trying to smear Lively. The lawsuit filed by Baldoni, his business partners, and his publicists argued that the Times wasn't just reporting. They were crafting a hit piece. The plaintiffs claimed the article, titled "We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine," was designed to villainize Baldoni and create a scandal where there wasn't one. But the New York Times wasn't backing down. A spokesperson quickly responded, making it crystal clear that they stood by their reporting and were ready to vigorously defend against the lawsuit. So, Baldoni was now locked in a legal war, not just with Lively, but with one of the most powerful media outlets in the world. On January 16, 2025, Justin Baldoni escalates the fight. And this time, he's not just going after the New York Times. He's taking the gloves off and suing Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, their publicists, and the newspaper for a staggering $400 million in a defamation lawsuit. Yeah, this legal war just went nuclear. By February 28th, the New York Times filed its own motion to dismiss, arguing that Baldoni and his team were spinning a one-sided tale for the headlines. In their words, the Times does not belong in this dispute. In other words, leave us out of this mess. Fast forward to March 4th, and the first big legal decision comes in. News reports that a judge is siding with the New York Times, at least for now. U.S. District Judge Louis J. Lyman granted a pause on the lawsuit's discovery process, meaning Baldoni's legal team won't be getting access to documents or evidence just yet. The reason? The judge believes the Times has a strong case for getting the lawsuit dismissed entirely. That's a huge early win for the media giant. So, what does this mean for Baldoni? Well, for now, his $400 million lawsuit is stuck in legal limbo. And if the judge ultimately rules in the Times' favor, this entire case could collapse before it even really begins. And just like that, the power balance in this fight might be shifting. Baldoni's team wasn't happy. They argued that this ruling severely cut down their time to gather evidence. But Judge Lyman wasn't buying it. He shut it down with a simple reality check. The burden of discovery is not measured only by the number of pages. Meaning, just because Baldoni's team loves to flood the courts with mountains of documents doesn't mean they get special treatment. But don't think the judge is slamming the door completely. He clarified that if the court denies the Times' motion to dismiss, Baldoni's team can request more time for discovery. However, he made one thing very clear. This case isn't going to drag on forever. His exact words, "The court intends to address the motion to dismiss promptly after it is fully submitted." In other words, Baldoni's legal fight might get cut short really fast. As for the New York Times, they're celebrating this as a major victory. A spokesperson told E! News, "We appreciate the court's decision today, which recognizes the important First Amendment values at stake here." They went on to say that the ruling stops Baldoni from burdening them with endless discovery requests in a case that, in their words, should never have been brought. So, while the Times is feeling pretty confident, how is Blake Lively reacting to all of this? While the legal drama between the New York Times and Justin Baldoni plays out in court, the real tension? It's between Baldoni and his co-star, Blake Lively. Remember, these two weren't just directors and actresses on It End With Us. They were also playing Lily Bloom and Ryle, an abusive husband and wife. And now, their off-screen battle might just be messier than the movie itself. But if you thought Lively was hiding away, think again. She just stepped out, looking completely unbothered at South by Southwest. This was one of her first major public appearances since she and Baldoni both took their legal fights to court. And let's just say she wasn't exactly giving off stressed out vibes. On Friday, Lively hit the red carpet for the world premiere of her latest film, Another Simple Favor, all smiles as she posed for photographers, snapped selfies with fans, and signed autographs like it was just another day in Hollywood. And her outfit? A total showstopper. She rocked a light pink latex dress with a black-laced floral design, complete with a corset that cinched her waist and a matching latex cover-up. Her hair? Effortless waves pinned back just enough to keep it chic. Inside the Paramount Theater in Austin, she took the stage to talk about reprising her role as Emily Nelson in the sequel to A Simple Favor. And if the ongoing legal war with Baldoni was weighing on her, she didn't show it one bit. And then there's Anna Kendrick, her co-star, who just gave a masterclass in dodging awkward questions. At the Another Simple Favor premiere, a journalist, clearly trying to be indirect but failing miserably, asked Kendrick how she felt about the movie being impacted by everything going on in the world. Now, we all know what they were really asking. How's it been working with Blake Lively while her legal war with Baldoni explodes? Kendrick, she wasn't about to take the bait. Instead, she laughed it off and feigned complete ignorance, joking, "Why? What happened? I did ayahuasca and the last year of my life is just gone, but I've heard the movie is amazing." And just like that, she completely sidestepped the drama. A clip of the moment instantly went viral, with fans losing it over how effortlessly she avoided answering the question. One person called it an Oscar-winning evasion, while another said she had mastered the art of saying a lot without saying anything at all. Someone else declared, "She's a freaking national treasure." And honestly, hard to argue with that, but this whole thing just adds to a growing pattern. Blake Lively never seems to be on great terms with her co-stars. Remember, back in January, there were already rumors that tensions between Lively and Kendrick were messing up the film's production. One ex, formerly Twitter user, even claimed that the sequel had been derailed because of Lively's legal battle with Baldoni. According to the Post, Kendrick was supposedly furious, director Paul Feig was disappointed, and Lively was refusing to promote the film. Feig, though, He shut it down real quick, calling the claims complete nonsense. But with Kendrick's very cryptic response at the premiere, yeah, people are definitely reading between the lines. So, with the judge pressing pause on Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit, it's starting to look like this fight might be over before it even really starts. But is this just a temporary roadblock? Or has Baldoni completely miscalculated his chances? If the New York Times gets this case thrown out, where does that leave him? Does he double down, or is this the moment his legal battle, and maybe even his career, starts unraveling? Let me know what you think in the comments. Does Baldoni still have a way out, or is this the beginning of the end? And if you want to stay updated on every twist and turn in this case, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more to come.